In this video, I'm going to show you how to do keyword research for your real estate website. Now, keyword research is the #1 most important skill you need to have when it comes to closing more deals from your website's organic traffic. Now, if you've been going down the rabbit hole of SEO, you might have heard of some concepts like on-page SEO, off-page SEO, technical SEO, backlink analysis. But today we're focusing on keyword research because this is what will lay the foundation for all of the work you put into your website. Keyword research needs to be done right because if you don't choose the right keywords that actually generate leads, or you pick good keywords but they're way too competitive for your website to rank for, you're just going to end up spinning your wheels without actually growing your business. By the way, welcome. My name is Jacob. I do SEO for real estate websites and YouTube channels, and that is what I talk about on this channel. Now for this video, this is really only going to be helpful for you if you already have a website that already has some kind of content on it. So this keyword research process I'm going to show is not meant for a brand new website. Now let's take a look here. This is St. Louis Premier Lofts. And what I like about this website is that, first of all, it's very content heavy. So they have tons of written content and informational pages. So they have a bunch of pages for individual condo buildings. So this brokerage focuses a lot on the downtown St. Louis market. And what I mean when I say they have a lot of content is that they have these pages that have actual information on them. Like right here, they talk about the buildings, they talk about the amenities, a little bit of the history. Now, we're not talking a whole dissertation on the page right here, but they do have content. They do have information about these buildings. They do have a solid blog, which I always like to see. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least seeing that they have invested time and energy into putting content on their website that's not just listings, I like to see that a lot. Now, this is a real estate brokerage website, but it doesn't necessarily look like that. It's subtle if you pay attention to it, but this website is a really good example of a content-focused website in the real estate space. So yes, they have listings, but that's not the main focus. The main focus is all of the written and video content on this website. So we're gonna go over and take a look at Ahrefs right here, and this is where we're gonna get a lot of data about this website. So first things we can see, they've got about 2,500 keywords that they're ranking for somewhere on Google. That's great to see. And looking at their backlink profile, they have a domain rating of 12, which is not very strong, I'll be honest, but it's better than 0, which is where a lot of real estate websites start out. So they've got 100 referring domains. That is a really good foundation for growing their website authority, because the way you think about this is that the more authoritative their website is, meaning the more websites that are linking to their website, that shows stronger signals to Google that they are a trusted source, which will allow them to rank higher for those much more competitive keywords. Now, we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look at organic keywords. And this is where we're going to start our keyword database. So a couple filters you want to set here. Number one, make sure that you are set to not compare a date. This is just saying if you wanted to compare your rankings today compared to a month ago, 2 months ago, you could do that. We just want to look at keywords for today. We're not trying to compare. Next, we want to look at keywords that have at least some amount of search volume. So let's just say more than 20 searches a month. That's what that is right there. And then keyword difficulty. The keyword difficulty you want to set is going to depend on your website. So if your website's domain rating is very, very low, you might want to just set this to 5 or 10. Now, this website we already established has a DR of 12. So I'm going to say we're just going to look for a keyword difficulty up to 20. Now, for your website, if you had a stronger website with a domain rating of 30, 40, 50 or above, then you can get more aggressive with the keywords you target. So you might want to set your keyword difficulty up to 50 or 60 if you have a strong website. And then we're going to show the results here. So we've got about 1,500 keywords that match these criteria. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to export. Make sure you have all your keywords selected, and I prefer to export to a Google Sheet. Now, if you want to use an Excel sheet or numbers, you could do that. Google Sheets is just my personal preference. So this is what your sheet is going to look like when you open it up. Now, there's a lot going on here, so I'm going to show you what information actually matters. By the way, if you have questions about any of this and you want to talk more about your situation, just send me a text or send me an email. If there's anything I can do to give you some guidance, I would love to hear from you. First thing we're going to do, let's just freeze this row so that way it stays put. And then another thing we're going to do is we're going to create a filter. Okay? So that we can filter these keywords by certain criteria in order to figure out which keywords matter and which keywords are worth your effort in the beginning. We're just going to delete this column because this just tells you the number of keywords you have. We don't need that. And then I'm just going to expand this out. Now we can get rid of organic traffic and paid traffic. So just delete those columns. And then you don't really need the current URL or the updated. So go ahead and delete those as well. And then I also just like to center the numbers and just clean this up a little bit. I'm kind of OCD about it sometimes. Now that we have this spreadsheet, this is going to show you all of the keywords that you are ranking for, approximate search volume, keyword difficulty, and the current position. And if you're curious about the SERP features for every keyword, this column right here can be very helpful for that. It'll show you that some keywords have a lot going on in the SERP features. So for example, this one has a thumbnail, knowledge panel, video preview, people also ask. And then some of them might have, just one or two. So this one down here just has a people also ask. So the more SERP features there are for a keyword, the more difficult it might be for you to get traffic for that keyword, because everything that's a SERP feature on the top of the page is probably just going to push down the organic rankings. So just something to keep in mind. Now let's actually go through here and start filtering out these keywords. So we're going to make another column to the right and make this a little bit smaller. We're going to call this category. The first category we're going to look at is what we call low-hanging fruits. These are going to be keywords that currently rank between 2 and 15 on Google. And these are the first priority keywords you want to focus on improving, because those keywords are already ranking pretty well if they're somewhere on the first page. And if you just put a little bit of work into improving those pages that are ranking, you can really increase your traffic. Because if you can go from ranking number 10 to ranking number 3, that would likely give you a way bigger boost in traffic compared to, let's say, if you went from ranking 50 to ranking in number 10. The closer you get to ranking number 1, the bigger boost in traffic you're going to see. So we're going to go in here and insert a drop down, and I want you to enter these 4 categories: low-hanging fruit, upgrade, cluster, success. And if you want to change the colors around, you can absolutely do that. So here's what that's going to look like. And then we're just going to drag this all the way down the page so that every single cell has it. Now that we've got that for every row, we're going to actually start to filter down these keywords. So first up, we're going to look at the low-hanging fruits, which is going to be everything that is between 2 and 15. So we've got 152 keywords that we're going to consider low-hanging fruits. So we're going to make sure that every one of these is categorized as low-hanging fruit. Any keyword that's a low-hanging fruit is a really good place to start, because that shows you're doing something right. Next thing we're going to look at is positions 16 through 50. So we're going to go between 16 and 50. And so we're going to mark all of these as an upgrade. Now, what an upgrade means is that this is kind of your second priority keyword, where you're ranking, but you're not ranking that well, which tells me you're going to need to put a little bit more work into every page that is ranking further down on Google. So with a low-hanging fruit, you might be ranking number 10, and you could spend a little bit of time adding some content, maybe shifting things around on that page to give it a little bump. Whereas with an upgrade, if you're ranking, let's say, position 45, it is going to take more effort to go from ranking 45 to ranking in the top 10. So with an upgrade, there is more work involved. You really might need to go back and really heavily modify the content on that page, if not start completely from scratch. Now, the third category we're going to look at is filter between 51 and 100. And we're going to set these as a cluster opportunity. And what a cluster opportunity means is that you should probably create a new page for whatever this keyword is that's ranking between 51 and 100. Because that means that you're ranking far enough down in the search results that that keyword that's ranking probably is not the main keyword for that page. So the keyword might be something briefly mentioned on that page, but it's probably not the focus keyword. So for example, let's look at this one. You have the keyword best date night restaurants St. Louis, and it's ranking 52nd. Now, if you look at the actual page that's ranking, it's rooftop restaurants in St. Louis. So we have this article that's not even about date night restaurants, it's about rooftop restaurants. Now, best date night restaurants is a related topic, but that's not the same thing. So for a keyword like this, if you decided to go after it, you'd be better off creating a brand new page for it rather than try to improve the existing page because it's a different keyword you're targeting. So I'm going to clear the filters just so we can see the full list of keywords. One thing I want to mention too, I told you to put success as one of the drop downs. That's for anything ranking number 1. So assuming the keyword matches the target keyword of that page. So for example, here we have City Museum Lofts. The URL is City Museum Lofts. I would say that's the target keyword for that page. Job well done. You're ranking number 1. No further action required. Now, the next thing we want to do, we have our database of keywords, we have our categories. The next thing is that we really need to refine this list into an action plan. So we've got almost 1,600 keywords here. And that is a lot. My goal here is to end up with a list of 50 to 75 keywords where we're saying these are the keywords we're going to focus on, either upgrading an existing page on our website or creating a brand new page from scratch to target a new keyword. So when we have a lot of keywords like this, there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to get stricter about our criteria to really cut down that list. So first, we're going to look at just the low-hanging fruits because those are the first priority keywords we want to target because those are going to be your quick wins right out of the gate. Another thing I'm going to do here is let's get more strict about the keyword difficulty. So we're going to go for the easiest keywords. Let's say that we want keywords that are less than 10 as far as difficulty goes. Okay, those are going to be pretty easy to target. Okay, so now we've got it down to a list of about 141 keywords. That's a good start. Now, what we need to do with these keywords to really break it down further is to decide how relevant they are to our core business. So I'll give you an example. Right here, we have Lofts, downtown St. Louis. Now, this is a residential real estate brokerage that works in St. Louis. That is a money keyword you want to target. That is highly relevant to this real estate website. Now, right below that, celebrities that live in Missouri. Creating content for a keyword like that is going to be far less relevant to what your business does. I would argue that making an article for a keyword like that is going to be way more of a waste of your time compared to if you focused on the first one, Lofts, downtown St. Louis. So we're going to go into ChatGPT, and this is the prompt I want you to use. So assign a relevance score to the keyword list below based on the following criteria. Put it into a table and keep the keywords in the exact order as below. We have a criteria. Relevance is based on what the website offers. This website is for a real estate brokerage that represents buyers and sellers in greater St. Louis. A keyword, and this is the important part, keyword like homes for sale in St. Louis or buying a condo in St. Louis would receive a score of 5. A keyword like things to do in St. Louis would receive a score of 2. A keyword like St. Louis Cardinals would receive a score of 1. So this is where you want to customize to your situation, whether you're a real estate agent, broker, investor, developer. And the other thing is you want to give it a few examples of what you mean when you say relevance. So obviously buying a condo in St. Louis, highly relevant to a real estate brokerage. St. Louis Cardinals, not relevant. And we're going to start a new chat with ChatGPT. Now that we've got that, we're going to take this list of keywords, copy that, and put it right into our prompt here. And then we're going to send that in. While that's going, I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to add another column for keyword just to make sure that the keywords line up because I told ChatGPT to keep it in the same order and I just want to make sure that it actually listens to that. So now we've got our list and we're going to download this. And then what you want to do is just copy these columns and just come in here and paste them into the table. And this is why I have the keyword column twice. I just want to make sure that it checks out and that everything is in the correct order. Looks like that's all good. Really, all I do is scroll to the top and then scroll to the bottom and make sure everything still matches up. Looks good there. And then now I'm just going to delete this extra keyword column. And so what we want to do now is, depending on how many keywords you have here, you want to start filtering by relevance. So we have a good amount of keywords. We've got 141, it looks like. And I am only interested in keywords with a relevance of 5. Okay, so there's 3. So maybe we want to open it up a little bit to 5 and 4. Okay, that's a lot. So I might just keep it at 5. Or what I can do is just scroll through here and get rid of any duplicates or any keywords I don't want. Sometimes you have to use your best judgment. Right now, I'm just going to keep it at 5. And so what we're trying to do here by assigning a relevance score is refine these keywords based on 1, how relevant is it to what our business offers? 2, intent. This is where you have to think about it and say, okay, would someone searching for something like this potentially lead to a transaction? If someone's looking for information on a specific condo building, chances are they might be in the market to purchase in that condo building. And the third criteria is competition. That's why we're filtering down by the keyword difficulty. You want to start by targeting keywords that are low in competition if your website is not as authoritative as the other websites ranking for this keyword. And that's why I think that a keyword difficulty under 10 is a pretty good place to start. Because if you come in and you have really, really good content for that keyword and nobody else does, you could rank number 1 with a keyword difficulty of 10, even if you have little to no backlinks to your website. And so here's what we're going to do. Let's say that these are keywords we decide are relevant to our business, to the areas we serve, and to the kind of clients we want to get. And we're going to put these into a new tab. I'm going to go ahead and make a new tab for an action plan. Now, the action plan tab is the list of keywords we've decided these are what we want to focus on. So I would just recommend copying column by column because you don't need every column that's on this spreadsheet. So we're going to copy and paste our keywords, freeze this so it stays put, and we're going to add the filter just in case we want it. How many keywords you want in here is up to you. You can do 25, you can do 50, you can do 75. I think 50 is a good number because assuming you focus on 1 keyword per week, whether that is improving an existing article or creating a new article from scratch. And so if you have 50, that would be about 1 year's worth of content. Copy the URL. Okay. Now, I would recommend putting in the action and status. So we are going to put in here that these pages, since these are low-hanging fruit, these are pages we want to optimize. So low-hanging fruit, we just need to optimize these pages. We just need to give it a little bit of a boost, maybe fix some things, add some content, maybe do some technical work, add some backlinks. There's a lot that you could do when it comes to optimizing a page. That is a whole different discussion. But for this video, we're just trying to build out our action plan of keywords. That was just looking at the low-hanging fruit. Now, we want to come back here. We want to see the full list again. Now, let's focus on upgrade. So once we have our low-hanging fruits keyword list, we want to focus on the upgrade because that is going to be the next bucket we want to focus on. Now, as you can see here, we have a lot more keywords in the upgrade category, and I would recommend trying to limit it to 200 keywords that you send to ChatGPT because anything more than that, you might run the risk of it being less accurate or glitching. Now, there's a lot of ways you could narrow down this list. You could get more strict about the keyword difficulty. You could choose to limit the volume to above or below a certain range. Or what I like to do sometimes is come in here and filter for specific text. So we're going to say text that contains St. Louis. Anything else we're not interested in. Okay, that took it down to 260. I might come in here and filter the volume for anything that is above 100 searches. So greater than or equal to 100. And let's see what that does. Okay, so we got it down to 44. That might be a little bit strict. So let's just say 50 and see what that does. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same thing all over again. So take this list, copy it, and do the same prompt. Now that we've got that pasted in here, we're going to do the same thing. And let's come in and filter to just 4s and 5s and see where that leaves us. So we've got 7 keywords here. So we're going to copy this and put that into our action plan. Now, when it comes to a keyword where we want to upgrade instead of a low-hanging fruit, that's going to be upgrade existing SEO content. So when I say optimize a page, we're talking maybe some tweaks, maybe adding a little bit of content, maybe throwing some backlinks at it. Upgrading content is a little bit more involved. It means sometimes reworking that page from scratch, or at least heavily modifying a lot of the content on here. So any keyword that is in the category of upgrade, we're going to mark that as upgrade existing content. And then we're going to come back to our keywords, and now we're going to filter by cluster. And this is the last set of keywords we're going to upload into ChatGPT. I'm going to go ahead and take out the filter for St. Louis here, and I'm just going to make the volume greater than 100. So the clustering opportunities, these are keywords where you're somehow ranking for it between positions 50 and 100, but chances are that page is not doing a good enough job for that keyword, which means we're going to want to create new content to match that keyword. Copy and paste that prompt from ChatGPT, put it in there, and then we're just going to copy in our keywords. Now, again, the way that I choose to narrow down these keywords is just my preference. There's a lot of ways you can do this. If you want to get down to under 200 keywords, because let's say you got 1,000 keywords in your clustering opportunities, you can get creative. If you want to focus on keywords that are only about St. Louis, you can filter keywords that are maybe instead of 100 searches a month, you want 500 or 1,000 as your minimum, or keyword difficulty. Let's say 10 is too high and maybe you want to switch that to 5. There's a lot of ways you can narrow down this list. I'm just showing you one way of doing it, because the goal here is to end up with a manageable list of keywords that we can put into our action plan. And we're going to paste that in here and look at our relevance scores. Now, another thing I want to say about the relevance scores, just because a keyword has a relevance score of maybe 1 or 2 doesn't mean you should discard it and completely trash that keyword. Is it relevant to getting real estate leads for your business? Probably not. But if you look at a keyword like, for example, St. Louis wedding venues, although that's not really relevant to your business, when you see keywords like this, there's still an opportunity in the future if you wanted to use that and create some sort of linkable or shareable content to attract backlinks to your website. For example, some of the keywords that might look like celebrities that live in St. Louis, most expensive homes in St. Louis, anything like that, which might be a keyword that isn't relevant to real estate, but it's still relevant to St. Louis, could be something you might want to file away in the back of your head and come back to in the future if you wanted to create something like a statistics report, some kind of infographic or an interactive map or some kind of tool. Because although that kind of content doesn't play a role necessarily in generating leads, you can't forget about content that is meant to get backlinks and grow your website's authority. And it's good to come at this from an 80-20 point of view, with 80% of your content focused on SEO keywords that are going to drive leads to your business, and 20% of the content you make should be something that's maybe more experimental. Maybe it has less to do with your business and more to do with you wanting to get backlinks to your website. If you see keywords where there is some kind of statistical or journalistic intent, where it's something where someone's looking for data, information, if it's a keyword where you could see maybe a journalist or a reporter looking for that kind of information, those are a goldmine to create content to generate backlinks for your website. Anywho, we're going to do the same thing here and just look at keywords with a relevance of 5. Okay, so we've got a couple of these here, and same thing. We're just going to go through and copy these columns into the action plan. And you could look at 4 too. We might just keep that in here. It's up to you. So I'm going to do 5 and 4 for this one, just to see what we end up with. And I know I only did a relevance of 5 for the low-hanging fruits, but if you want to go back and maybe add in a 3 or a 4, you can absolutely do that. Now, when it comes to a clustering opportunity, we're going to mark this as create new content. So we're going to take this and drag this all the way down our clustering keywords, and this is going to be create new content. So we have our keywords broken down by priority. You might want to go through and manually look over this list just to make sure that there's no duplicates. So for example, we have 3 right here: Chase Park Plaza Hotel, Chase Place Apartments, Chase Hotel St. Louis. And since the Chase Park Plaza Hotel actually does have condos, I might just delete these 2 keywords and stick with the Chase Park Plaza Hotel. You might have a couple duplicate keywords on this list, so go through, clean it up a little bit. Now we've got 24 keywords on here. And this is where you got to use your best judgment and think to yourself, are these keywords where if you were to invest in writing an article, creating a brand new page to talk about that topic, is that relevant to your business and the kind of leads you want to work with? All of this is just based on existing keywords that your website is ranking for. But we also got to talk about new keywords that you don't rank for yet. So one way to do that is we're going to look at competitors. So we're going to go in Ahrefs. We're going to paste our link in there for our website, and then we're going to compare to a competitor. So you can upload more competitors if you want. I'm just going to use downtown St. Louis as a competitor, and we're going to look at keyword opportunities. We've got about 1,700 keywords here. So we're going to export these keywords to a Google Sheet. Now we're going to look at this sheet again, and again, just going to come in here, clean this up a little bit, freeze this, add a filter, and then I'm just going to get rid of these columns. So really, I only care about these columns here. Now we've got almost 1,800 keywords here. So again, we're going to have to narrow this down a little bit. So I'm going to start with keyword difficulty, and let's just say it is less than 10. Okay, so we've got down to 1,300 keywords. That's a start. And so maybe we want to say again, only keywords that contain St. Louis. Now that's not the best approach just because there might be keywords that contain a certain neighborhood, a certain suburb that does not contain the word of your general market, but I'm just using this as an example here. So we've got it down to 727, and maybe let's just try filtering by search volume now. And let's just say it is between 50 searches a month and 1,000 searches a month. Okay, now I've got a list of 200 keywords. Okay, and we're gonna do the same exact thing, go into ChatGPT and give it this list of keywords. Now, I'm willing to bet this list of keywords is going to be overall less relevant than the previous keywords we're looking at, because these keywords are coming from the downtown St. Louis website, which is not a real estate brokerage. It is just the neighborhood website. So I'm sure we're going to see stuff like things to do, hotels, information about the Cardinals, the Blues, concerts, a bunch of random stuff that is not going to be relevant to us for a real estate website. Okay, so paste that into here, and we're going to filter. So actually, and maybe this goes to show that using the neighborhood website is not as good of an idea compared to using some kind of real estate website. We only got 1s, 2s, and 3s. So if you feel like going after any of these keywords that are a relevant score of 3, you can do that. Or what I do is just come back to the competitive analysis and just do that again with a different website and hopefully get some more relevant keywords. But I'm just showing you that as an example so that if we got a website that has more relevant content to us, we could take these keywords with the relevance score and then just come in here to our action plan and add those to the list. And what you're going to see is that the more you do this and the more competitors you run an analysis against and get more of these new keywords you don't have, you want to come up with this list. And again, you could stick with 25 keywords, you could stick with 50, 75, but this is going to start to show you where you should focus your efforts when it comes to creating new content and upgrading existing content. And trust me, there's all sorts of ways to find new keywords. You can go on Reddit and see what people are talking about in your area. You can look at Quora. You can look at discussions in Facebook groups, the Nextdoor app. If you have a YouTube channel, and this is one I do a lot, go back to your videos on specific areas, condo buildings, neighborhoods, and look through the comments of those videos to see what people are asking about. Once you've got a list of keywords you want to target, then it's time to get to work. Now you have a game plan for the keywords and the pages on your website that we've established deserve our attention because they're relevant to what we do. We've refined it by search volume, by keyword difficulty, and you know the position these keywords are in so that you can go in here and say, okay, position number 5. That means we got to do something to this page to hopefully get it from 5 to number 1, or at least closer to number 1 than it is right now. And same thing with all the upgrades, okay? If we've got a page ranking 46, chances are we might have to rework that page and get it to where it should be, hopefully ranking closer to number 1. So this is just a high level overview of how my keyword research process works. There's a lot more to it, but this is broken down into easy to follow steps that you can get to work on yourself. Thanks for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next one.